That is a 10x on views. We did this literally last week. This is what the world needs. This is what people need. Welcome back to Radical Content. Eric Gray. Today we are talking all about AI. And I haven't had a deep dive in this yet on the podcast, and so I'm excited to do it. And also, Brittany and Alex told me that I have to because everyone's searching it, and so let's do it. It's kind of true. But no, today we're excited to talk about this because I actually have had two interesting stories that have happened recently around this. So I talked to a friend of mine who works at a giant brand who has run their blog for the longest time, and I was like, dude, you need to take that entire blog and put that into some form of AI and let that be something that your customers can just go to and ask questions, because SEO is going to go away from an article written standpoint, from a blogging article written standpoint, if we're not already there. And again, I know we're not there quite yet from a blog standpoint, but that's real life. And he kind of was a little stunned, as if I was saying something crazy. And I was like, hold on, I'm not saying crazy things. This is like the world we're in right now. And I was like, I'm worried that you're not thinking like this. And then I kind of walked away and I was like, good luck, hope for the best. And then another one. I was at a client meeting pretty recently, and we were at a brainstorm and just kind of having a little conversation with somebody. And this person was like, I hate AI. And I was like, oh, tell me more. And they went on to kind of talk about, some of the stuff we'll talk about today. Like, I just don't think it's helping creative. I don't think it creates anything that's good. I just think it's all bad. And I kind of just listened to this person. And to be honest, I'm in a lot of circles that I think they're a little more pro-AI. They're pro-innovation. They're curious people. And my worry for this person, honestly, and this episode is not about this person. These are just stories to kind of jumpstart a little discussion about AI. But my worry for people like that is be careful. If you're not open and don't have a kind of a growth mindset about where the world is going, man, I just think you're going to get passed by. We are in an AI world. It's not going anywhere. And you got to get on board. And so today what we're going to talk about is, for the social media professional, for the content professional, where is there good in it, and where are there watch-outs, and where is there some bad in it? And it's and things to think about. I also think, Britt, this is like a multi-part series. I think that there's a whole other episode that I want to do later on that I'll kind of tease at the end. So this is not a fully comprehensive thing. The other thing I would say is there's a lot of people on YouTube that you're going to probably see in this toolbar right over here that are going to talk about how they're experts in AI. I'm not an expert in AI, but I use it a ton. And I think we all need to be using it a ton to understand. The other thing I would just want to lay on top of this is, don't be scared. I think there's a lot of fear, especially in the creative world, in the marketing world. AI is going to replace all of me. Like, I won't be able to do this now. I don't say, well, if you suck at your job, it will replace you. If you do something meaningful, it will not replace you. So let's just have that on top of this discussion, and let's be excited. The thing that this feels like, and I'm 46. I like to think I'm not that old, but I've been through some things, and Mom probably thinks I'm old. But the thing that I love to think about, and what this reminds me of 06 to 07. Of course, Marms wasn't born yet. Sorry, I just had to say that. He's not that young. We don't have like 13-year-olds working for us, I promise. But the thing I like to say is, it feels like 2006 and 2007, when social media was becoming a thing. Brands were trying to figure it out. They didn't know what it meant to have a Facebook page. Agencies were popping up just to start Facebook pages. It was free attention. And man, the world was flipped upside down. And I thought it was exciting. I was actually kind of a radio person transitioning into this thing called marketing. But my advantage in that moment of my career was I was curious. If you're not curious right now, you have no advantage. If you're not testing these things out and discovering, and I know there's a lot of social media professionals that are, they're going to go through this episode and they're going to be like, yeah, no doubt. Like of course we're, but there's a lot that are not. There's a lot of VPs of marketing. There's lots of heads of brand that don't really understand the capabilities of where we are right now and don't have any idea for what's coming. So we're not going to do a ton of what's coming. There's not going to be a lot of like Gary V future casting that's going to happen in this. That might be some episodes in the future, but we're going to talk a lot about where we are today. And the thing I would just say is be curious. Now, I use AI a ton in everyday life. And so I wanted to just list a couple things out. This is not about business. This is not about you working as a professional for your brands, but just to give you an idea of how I think about it. I use it as a mindset coach. So I go to therapy every other week. There's a lot of time when therapy's not around. I have literally put in like tons and tons of prompts about where I am from a mindset standpoint, building a company, what I'm trying to do as a father, where I am with my faith. And yeah, there's some people out there that are freaking out about this, and just, I'd say, calm down. But I use it as like just a little moment of reframe sometimes. I'll be like, hey, this happened. I'm feeling this. Give me a quick reframe so I can just get refocused and get back into the thing I need to do. And I'm telling you, it's awesome. I really, really enjoy it. I've told my therapist about it. He should be concerned. All therapists should be concerned. I don't think it's a replacement for therapy, by the way, but I do think it's something that's really interesting. I use it to plan vacations. I use it for book recommendations. Hey, I like this and this. This other person talked about this book. What are your thoughts? Break it down for me. I used it. I'm using it to help replace my microwave. I literally took a photo of my microwave and a photo of the model number of it. And I said, tell me the one that will most perfectly fit in the location that I have. How much time would I have gone through trying to do that? It literally just gave me 3 models and said, here's the specifications. Here's locations where you can buy it. Like, this is stupid stuff we should be using. I built a web app, and you guys will see it someday, in a weekend using a website called Lovable. And I mean, I'm literally coding in real time. I'm literally telling it with a text prompt, and coding agents are making a web application. I did it over a weekend, and someday we're going to talk about it here. It's called Lasso. And I'm excited for that. But like, I'm using it all the time, and also in kind of our professional life. And so be testing it out, be trying to figure it out. But I wanted to go through a quick list around the good for us as professionals in social and content, and some of the watch outs. This is going to be kind of all over the place. If I took a little bit more time, actually what I should have done, I should have put all this into ChatGPT and said, tell me the best order to go through to make this a really great story. And so there you go. I'm still learning places I could do this. But we want to look at every task that you're doing today. Every task that you're doing today, and find out, is there a way AI could help me here? Could it help me be more efficient? Could it help me move faster? Could it help me get more done? Like, this is the way to kind of start thinking about it. And we'll talk about a few examples. Now, the first thing people are going to say is, I asked you to design a picture, and the picture sucked. Yeah, that's true. It's only going to be as good as what you give it. So depending on, there's a million people out there that are like, buy my prompts and buy how I do prompts. And if you want to go do that, go crazy. But really the point is you're telling a robot what to create. And so you have to be very, very specific. For anybody that's ever created an SOP or a playbook, how I do things, I've got to sit down and train someone how to do things. You have to be very prescriptive of what you're looking for to get the thing back that you're looking for. Well, yeah, guess what? You have to do the same thing with artificial intelligence. You have to give it that level of detail. And if you're going to be lazy about it, well, then, yeah, you're going to get back some lazy thing. But remember, the point is not perfection. The point is efficiency. So if I put something in and it gets me 60 to 70% of the way there and saved me hours, then voila. Like, that is the power today of it. The more it learns, the more you give it, it might get to 70 or 80%. The more you tell it, I didn't like this, I do like this, the better it will get. By the way, someone gave me a hot tip, so this is a first hot tip. Be nice to your AI. Don't say, that sucked, this is horrible, try again, because someday the robots are coming for us. No, that's the fear side of things. No, don't worry, we'll get to that. Robots are not coming for anybody. All right, so that's the first thing. But let's really break down some stuff. Research. I use it for research a ton right now. I need to understand what's going on in a market, a specific vertical. I need to understand what some brands are doing. The amount of time it would take for me to go out to all these different individual websites and pull something together, it can do. And it's just crazy, and it's amazing at the research that it gives you. Now, this will not replace first-party research, first-party data. It can analyze that stuff really well. And so I'd ask you, how are you using it for research, to gain insights, to glean insights? Push it a little bit further, right? You put all of the it gets all the information, and then you're like, this is really, really cool. How would I take this information if my main goal was to drive emotional connections with my customers? So really kind of add to some of those things when you come from a research standpoint. Now, there's going to be people on either side of this aisle. The next aisle is ideation and creative exploration, right? Like, I don't think you need to outsource creativity, and we'll talk about this in a minute, to ChatGPT, but it can be a great spark. But again, you got to put all the information in it. Who's the brand? What's your target audience? What are you trying to do here? Do you want it to be unexpected? Do you want it to be educational? Do you want it to be inspirational? But if you're looking for a little ideation, a little spark, especially for small teams, I think it's a great shortcut. Now, I will say the ideation for me, I'm probably saying it's batting like 15%. I almost never take an idea, but the spark will send me down a pathway. Or sometimes we'll do this in live brainstorms. We'll throw something in there that's directionally where we're looking to go, and like, explore this a little bit more, and it'll spit out some ideas, and that will push us in a different direction. So if you're not using this tool for research, for ideation, by the way, I'm not talking about a lot of general marketing here. If you want to get it to help you understand the purpose your brand exists, it can do it. You got to give it a lot of information. If you want to get it to understand your ICP, who is your individual customer, what are their challenges, what are their pain points, it can do it. If you want to get it to understand kind of a top line overall messaging framework, that's probably pretty good. It can do it. So we're not talking about kind of the larger general marketing things. We're kind of speaking at kind of a social and digital content professional standpoint today. It can do all of that. And oh, by the way, like, let's not all act like we're super smart, right? Like, that's the other thing is like 80% of robots can't be 100% as good as me. Maybe. Depends how good you are. I don't know. Maybe you're a dum-dum. Maybe you have dum-dums that work for you. If you have that, then, it might be 100% better. So that's just an aside. All right, so that's ideation, research. Let's talk about content planning. Hey, here's 100. We did this literally this last week. We had a brainstorm about a new client, and we spent 90 minutes coming up with a ton of ideas in specific categories. We did the prep. We did the research. We came into it powered. People had ideas coming into it. It was a best-in-class brainstorm. Brittany agrees because I led the brainstorm, so she feels like her boss has to get some love. But it was a really good brainstorm. We came out with hundreds of ideas, some slop, some really good, and I literally copied all of this. I put this into ChatGPT, and I said, organize this by categories, and it organized it cleanly by categories. I said, for the ideas that don't have a great title or description, make some assumptions and give those better titles and descriptions, because I'm a maniac when it comes to clear ideas. I don't like ideas that aren't clear, so it's helping us clear up some ideas. Now take this and list out the top 10, top 15. Now, we didn't lose the rest of them, and we didn't go with the top 15, but it already is, again, shortcutting, right? It's giving me a little more efficiencies, and it really helped me kind of think through some things, because that would have taken hours to do, and it took just seconds. And so content planning, a really big help. Now, here's one that's kind of a hot button, is a copy. Is it really great at copy? You've got the M dashes and all this stuff. Like, I saw someone on LinkedIn earlier this week that said, a buddy of mine, David, he said, when you see something that feels more ChatGPT, do you immediately disengage? And he said he does. And I, by the way, I agree. Like, I totally agree. If I see something that someone just put a little simple prompt in and I'm reading it, it just gives me the feeling of manufactured. It just feels not real, not authentic. But if I don't see that, and I don't know that this person used it to clear up some thinking or maybe reformat a little bit, and it feels authentic to their voice, and they spent some time getting things 50% there, and I'll give you an example of somehow I do that. I think that is how we should be using it. Don't outsource your creativity. Don't have zero ideas, and this is kind of getting into the next phase, so I'll hold that. But I would say scaling content, right? Like, so another example, that brainstorm, I told it, and also give me titles and descriptions for each of these ideas. You know how long it would have taken me to do that? And now I just get to go through and kind of tweak it and make sure it feels right, because I've got definitely more thinking and strategy in my mind. So scaling content creation. You got to create 100 posts. Tell it to give you 200 posts. And then pick the top 50 and take those 50 and rewrite an extra 50. Like, there's just so many ways to use it from a copy standpoint. All right, I got to move faster. Mock-ups and decks. It's awesome at creating design that I think is mock-ups for PowerPoints, for example. So I use it for that a lot. And so use it for that. I think the thing that I use it the most for is organizing thought. If I've got a lot of things that are going on in my mind, I'm trying to get something down, I will literally audio chat it in a very sloppy way, and I'll ask it to reformat it, and I'll ask it to really, make this more concise, depending on what I'm trying to create, whether it's a prepared documents or a voice chat or what. All right, just a couple more lightning rounds on the good. VO. I mean, it's pretty crazy that you could create, but whether we scratch VO or actual VO for some social first stuff. AI captions. When I first saw this on CapCut, I was like, this is a game changer. I mean, when you were editing text only captions, that can be a lot of work. Now, I get it, and we have to do a lot custom as well when you've got individual fonts you have to use, so I know it doesn't work for everything. But if you don't have those requirements, really, really good. And I've seen some people doing amazing YouTube thumbnails with AI from a design standpoint. The last one, we did a really cool little 8-bit social first video for one of our clients recently, where it literally created the graphic, and we brought that in. It created the music, and just really cool stuff. So we're testing some stuff out as well from a creation standpoint, and I just say there's a lot of things you can use, and some of them we'll talk about as we get to the bad as well. But be curious, be testing things out. There's a lot of really good stuff here that we should be using to help you, to support your team. I challenge any director of social to challenge their entire team. Try to find ways to get 20% better using AI. And I think it'll be really important for you guys. All right, let's get to some of the bad, some of the challenges. First off, marketers ruin everything. Okay, like pop-ups they just ruined everything. Email they've ruined. LinkedIn messages has been ruined by marketers and salespeople, cold messaging, cold selling. And so just know that that's a kind of a state of where we're coming and we're going. And let's try not to be one of those people, but let's talk about in more general some of the challenges. These platforms will get full of AI content. This is probably my biggest worry. And once these platforms get full of AI content, what does that mean? What does that look like? Because the problem is the cost of creating content has really gone down. So in the good, we didn't talk about how the fact that you can take one video and turn it into 20 videos using Opus Clip. You can. And there's other platforms out there. You can create individual videos in seconds versus like shooting and editing. If you're in a product environment, you can instantly create hundreds of different product photos that you only had one photo off of. And so the ability to scale content creation is going to get crazy, which means there's going to be a lot of garbage out there. And so we have got to get to the point where we are creating really meaningful, valuable things that AI can't create. And so there's a few things in here that I would like to call out. The more we can tell human stories, the more we can tell people stories. You're going to be protected a little bit, right? If you work at a church or you work at a grocery store and you want to talk about that person that's using your product, you can't have AI replace that customer. And so the more often we can tell more human stories and great storytelling around that, we're going to be protected from things like that. We got to protect our originality. What's going to come from AI is a bad sea of sameness, and that is the risk, and that is the fear for creativity and for creatives and for creators. And so we've got to use it where we can, but not give all of our creativity to this, the computers, to the robots. And let me tell you the biggest risk in that. The biggest risk is when you hand over creativity and originality to these platforms, and these platforms are the things that you come back to your ideas, and then you go make those ideas. You have turned off a piece of your brain. I've felt it literally when I've done it. I'm trying to brainstorm something, and I'm like, why am I not coming up with original ideas? It's because you've offloaded that part of your brain to something else, and now you're only reacting to what it can give you. And that's a really big problem. And so that is my biggest risk. That's the biggest risk, is that you become a part of the sea of sameness, and it becomes about scaling content creation. And so we're going to shift from a quantity to a quality. You know me, I talk about the importance of quantity, and quantity is important, and it has been. But now content can be a commodity. It can be everywhere, and it can make it less valuable. And so quality, human interest stories are where we're going to have to live and where we're going to have to exist, because this content that is AI generated is going to start to feel like spam. Have you guys seen the AI generated influencers that are running full accounts and they're not even real people and they look like real people? Like, that's a watch out. That's a scary thing. Now, there's some brands that are like, hell yeah. I don't know if I've said hell in this, but whatever. Hell yeah. Like, that is something we're going to do, and it's going to help us, and it's going to help us make money, and like, great. Like, if that's what you think is important, do it. If that's what's going to help your business, do it. I think it's a risk point, and it's never anything I would advise any of my clients to be doing, is creating fake humans to try to convince people, because at the end of the day, we stand for relationships and loyalty, and that's just fabricated. It's just so fake, and people will realize it, and people will run away from it. And that's the other thing I think is going to happen with the bad, is these platforms are going to fill up with AI content, and people are going to find a new place. People are thirsty for entertainment, for inspiration, for authenticity, for storytelling. That will not go away. And as AI content comes in and then probably starts to take over, because again, marketers run things, people are going to still want to find new ways to get that. And so there'll be new channels that will come up. There'll be new platforms. There'll be a new Facebook that doesn't allow AI, and brands will have to be there. So be on the forefront of those moments, because that is where this is going to happen. A couple more quick things just to close this thing out. The design usually sucks in these. So just using it for design, don't love it. Mockups, cool. Design sucks. There's a lot of platforms out there that say they can create really great viral clips off of a long form piece of content. I've tested it out. They can't. They say this is like 95% viral content. It's garbage still. Now, I'm not saying it won't get there, but having Marmol be directed and coached and trained on what a really good piece of content looks like, and having him watch the whole thing and cut out things takes more time. I promise you, that is a 10x on views compared to having a computer do it. Maybe that'll change, but right now, I'm not buying into an Opus clip. Now, if you just want just 10 clips, Opus clip's cool. Try it out, test it out. It's really neat. I've done it. But if you want something that's going to really be impactful and valuable to your audience, there's just nothing like having someone sit behind and find those clips and then go pull them out. One more quick thing on the bad. Everything's going to be copied. The second someone does something that's original, it's going to be copied a million times. And so seek originality, seek uniqueness, be unexpected, use these things as a tool. Look, every step of your job today needs to be analyzed as something that AI could be better, but do not outsource your creativity to the robots. It's what makes you unique. It's what makes you original. Look for efficiencies. Look for things that will help you get 50% there, 60% there, 100%. I am not a robot. I am a real person standing here with real original thoughts. This is what the world needs. This is what people need. Not this, more of this podcast, maybe, hopefully. But this kind of thing where people sit around a room and brainstorm ideas and come up with ideas and sit down and try to deliver that for people. But be curious. Don't be like my friend at that client that is just shutting down on everything that is AI, because I'm excited about it. I think it's awesome. I think the future is bright, and I think this is only going to help us tell better stories, create more content, and connect more with people. So again, if this helped you out, share it with your team. Get them to be thinking about AI, and if this can be a support for that, that's great. Like this, subscribe to this. We want to create more of this content. I will say there is going to be a part 2 of this that I did not go into. I believe that there is a future where every social media manager has an AI agent that is your assistant to do a lot of things. We didn't go into that today because I thought that might freak you out to start. But I believe that is true. I believe there's a future where every business owner has a social media strategist that is an AI agent. I believe that is true. But you will not be replaced if you know the tools. So learn them. Cool? All right. That's it, everybody. Appreciate the time. Radical Content, episode 34 in the books. We'll see you guys.